mic somewhere. Oh, you've got it. Are you asking a question? Yeah, go far away. We'll wait for the mic to go. Just wait for a moment, I think.
I have been trying to process my emotions with my father. They oscillate between rage and really, really neutral, like
and rage
numbing.
And really, really rage.
Yeah, yeah. And then I go into numbness, like, no, that can't be. So it's like a denial that I'm aware of.
Yep.
But it's because I just keep working at it. Now, what I have is the question is, if I can do things in my sleep state that are negative as well as positive, because I'm not getting through my emotions with my father and I'm angry, so that's a denial. When I go into a sleep state, do I, unbeknownst to me in my wake state, go there and give him hell? Do I do that?
Well, you're already doing it in your wake state, so it's highly likely you'll do it in your sleep state. Because when you say you're in a rage with him in your awake state, you are giving him hell, as the saying goes, in that state. You see, here's you, it doesn't matter whether on earth or in the sleep state, here's you, here's your dad, right? And what happens is every time you interact with him at the moment, what he's feeling from your soul is your rage, right? So there's just rage. Now, him at the moment wants to defend that, so he just gets in a rage back, Doesn't help any of you, right, really do anything about it, but that's what he feels. He wants to rage to you and you want to rage to him, but nothing really changes in that state. And yes, highly likely you'll do that in your sleep state because you're doing it in your awake state. So my suggestion is to go further into the grief relating to Dad and the fear relating to Dad than the rage.
Yes, I have been trying to go to the grief.
I know.
And it sometimes goes there, but then it comes out. And so...
Can I suggest, though, you want, and this applies to many of you who are in rages with other people, you want to stay in the rage? Because in your rage, you can punish them, and you want to punish them. And in your rage, you can blame them, and you want to blame them. And in your rage, you want to make them suffer, and you can make them suffer. That's the whole point. Now, what we need to do is give up those desires, and when we give up those desires, we'll give up the rage. Does that make sense to everyone? When we give up the rage, we can now enter the fear and the sadness that's within ourselves, and ironically, that's the thing that's going to actually affect them more. That's when they probably will get into some form of repentance about what they've done. They're not going to get into a state of repentance while you're raging with them. Do you ever get into a state of repentance when somebody rages at you? What do you do most of the time when someone rages at you? Rage back many times, isn't it? So how can you expect someone in a darker condition to yourself that caused your pain to actually do anything different other than rage back? Can you see? Right. So what we need to do instead is relinquish the desires. Every one of these desires has an emotion attached to it. So if I want to punish someone, there's an emotion aside. Do I want to blame them? There's an emotion in that. Do I want to make them suffer? There's an emotion in me in that. And I need to release those emotions, and then my rage will dissipate.
Could you just go to take one, let's say punish. What is the emotion related to punish then?
Well, it's different for every person, isn't it? Because it depends what's been done to you by that person as to why you want to punish them. Does that make sense? So if that person had only stolen your house, then you might want to do a totally different thing to them compared to if they had actually sexually abused you as a child. Can you see the difference?
I see.
So my desire to punish them will be based on different emotions, based on what they have personally done to me. Did you see that?
Yes, but how do I get past that? Because when I'm actually doing things to try and process it, I keep going back and repeating the same thing, trying to get out of it.
So all you need to do is feel what that person did to you, right? Yeah. But now feel it inside of you instead of as a rage. So in other words, feel it as grief or terror rather than as a rage.
Yeah, I try to do that. But what am I not?
No, I'm saying if you have to try to do that, you need to focus on these emotions Because once those emotions dissipate, you won't need to try to do it. It will automatically happen. Does that make sense to everyone? It's like while I'm holding on to the desire to punish someone, do I want to give up my rage? No. While I'm holding on to my desire to blame someone, do I want to give up my rage? No. While I'm holding my desire to make them suffer, do I want to give up my sadness? No. Because if I give up my sadness, then I won't feel like making them suffer anymore. And I feel like they deserve to suffer for what they did. And I feel like they should suffer. Do you know what I mean? So we need to give up these emotions, and then the rage will dissipate. And then, ironically, we'll get to our own grief, which is what we need to do to heal ourselves.